Volume 10 of Rising of the Shield Hero, I've got to say, I fell in love with the new character. I know a lot of people are really big fans of our lovely Raccoon Girl, but I really love this new character that was introduced in this volume. She's kind of one of my favorites now, just how charismatic she is, how boisterous she is, and just that kind of fun spin that she has. And the fact that she does have connections with our Raccoon Girl and how they are deeply intertwined, and you find that out much later on in the volume as well, just how connected they are, and they have the same objective as well with what they're trying to accomplish in this volume. And the volume starts off pretty basic. The other heroes gone missing, looking for them, and of course they've come home and they're looking for the 7-star heroes, and then they find out that the king is one of them. Yeah, that didn't go well, and he still has a thing against the shield hero, and I know from what I've been told is that later on in the volumes it said why he has an issue. I don't know why. See, I've been doing quite well staying away from the spoilers, but there is apparently an issue that he has. Whether it be an actual legitimate issue, well, we'll just have to wait and see if there is an actual good reason why he doesn't like the shield hero. I highly doubt it though, knowing him. So they go from that, and of course the shield hero is kind of looking at an appropriate reward for his adventures, his endeavors, all the rescuing and the saving. He's definitely done a lot of sort of hard labor. He's made a lot of improvements, and that's another thing though too. While the other heroes are running around doing absolutely nothing, being unproductive, the shield hero is actually trying to save people, he's trying to progress, he's trying to do more, and the other three are doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. Squat. And then they wonder why they're so far behind in progression. They don't listen, they don't do anything, they're not willing to look outside the box, and then they call the shield hero a cheater. It's just, it's funny times. But of course, they look into an appropriate reward, and obviously money isn't the best idea, because again, the treasury for the kingdom, it's getting low. I mean, obviously, they've got a lot of other issues to fix. They've got to try and rebuild because of the actual spirit tortoise itself. So he decides to ask for some land, which then leads to him also getting a title, and he decides to pick the area of which, of course, his lovely partner used to live. And I think it's kind of symbolic as well, and it's kind of a good gesture. It kind of shows that he's trying to do more for those that were very heavily affected by everything going on. He's trying to sort of help, of course, his partner and just show, hey, let's rebuild this town, let's get everyone back that was stolen and put into slavery, and let's get them back there and rebuild and refocus on also building the troops up as well, because of course one day he is planning to go back home, so he wants to have something there to protect them. He wants to kind of look out for the future. A visionary, as I would like to say, as like something in the real world, you know, someone that's looking to the future, looking to try and build and protect, of course, for future generations. And I think that's quite noble, and it's definitely a lot of work for him. He's got to put a lot of things together to try and get everything functioning, and a lot of the skills and favors that he's acquired throughout the volumes, going from 1 through 9, he is using to help establish this actual town itself. Especially when it came to things like food, like how he's able to mutate the actual food properties, so he's able to make something that he made for the other town where there's those little berries. And especially with all the leveling that the actual kids are going through, that definitely helps. The actual fishing, the hunting, the growing of crops, it's definitely a positive aspect. And I mean, at some point they could also start trading them as well, so there's a lot of good aspects there. I really think actually the fact that he's able to create those plants and grow so much, he can basically solve world hunger. Again, growing other crops and hunting is another component as well. It at least gives them a better wide variety of different things that they may want to acquire. And rebuilding the town isn't easy as well. They've got to make money, they've got to get things together, they've got to, again, build trust with those that they've kind of bought from slavery and brought them into the town. So it's definitely a issue. And then because of the price hike, because of all those that were sold there, it's become a bit of an issue. And originally they think it's because of the shield hero trying to acquire them that's why the price hike has happened. But as I mentioned before, my favorite new girl, that is one of the big contributors to why. It may not all be it didn't really, I don't remember it ever being very specific in if it was just her that brought the price hike. I think it was a combination, but the price hike went up. They had a lot of issues trying to acquire them all, and that's where, of course, they're sort of exploring other areas and trying to acquire money, trying to get the other kids, and getting them back to the town to kind of train them, build them, and reunite them all together. So they end up discovering about this arena in this other place, and that is where they've decided, hey, we can make some quick, easy cash from it. And that is where they bump into this young hooligan, as I like to now call her, Aqua Girl. She is a boisterous one. She's a bit of a heavy drinker, so to say. She's definitely got her eyes on the Shield Hero. I really love her. I absolutely love her character. She's just such a unique sort of breath of fresh air. She also has a lot of similar sort of ideals as well as the Shield Hero. She's trying to get money. She's trying to acquire all these kids from the market and then sort of bring them together. And once they find out that, hey, they're in the same goals, they then work together. But the arena gets really vicious as well. But then Shield Hero doesn't have any issues because they're just so powerful. Even with the curse going on, because that's one of the biggest issues at the start, is that they still have the curse on them because of the fight in Volume 9. So it's not like they can do anything outrageous when it comes to leveling, which is why the Shield Hero was spending more time dealing with administrations, rebuilding the town and everything. And he figured he'd still have a breeze in the arena, but he does run into a little bit of an issue with the arena because of Aqua Girl being as strong as she is. But, of course, if he didn't have that curse on him, he would have just wiped the floor. But once they realized they both were on the same side and that there was that connection, they decide to work together. But then there's also those masters themselves that are also trying to manipulate and puppet everything and try to sort of monopolize and also milk the money and the royalties from this situation, which is when they decide to turn against them and things get a little bit more hot and heavy at the end of it. But everything ends well. I think that's the main good focus of it. Everyone kind of gets a positive out of it. I also found it funny because while Shield Hero was in the arena, there was all these slave masters that jumped into the town and they tried to raid the town and destroy it. And then the Shield Hero rocks up and they're like, hey, how did he get back so quick? It's like, do they not actually learn like the basics of what the heroes can do with teleportation? I guess they're kind of a bit out of the loop. But he ends up getting back, he ends up capturing them, and this is the thing, like, they're connected well, so they know they can get out of bad situations if they get put in jail or anything like that. I mean, you can't kill them because that's going to put a really bad sort of hindrance on the Queen, it's on the Shield Hero, it's going to make things really awkward, and then putting them in jail is pointless because through political powers, they're just going to get out and back to the same issues that they had. So he decides to sell them. I mean, that's the best solution, I think. He makes some money, he puts them in a really bad situation because where he sells them to, they don't like humans and they don't like those particular people in that profession. So yeah, they're not going to have a very good lifespan. They're going to probably wish they picked one of the alternatives and stayed in that alternative. But he ends up selling them, and I'm gonna say, Shield Hero, he's a smart fella. And that's what I mean though, he's using all his connections, all his knowledge, he's putting it all together to kind of build the best town possible because he believes at some point he's going to go home. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. He might have a change of heart. But right now in his head, he's very adamant that he's going to go home. He's not happy there. Which, to be honest, if I was in his situation, I understand that I would hate a lot of people there as well. But you're at least in more control. Again, it doesn't really talk about what his life was like before he got teleported. It does go over some parts, but not really in depth in comparison. Kind of like, say, how like Overlord does. I would kind of think it'd be a very sort of similar situation where it's just him studying, he's just a sort of a cogwheel in a system. To me, even with the predicaments that he's gone through, I'd probably almost want to stay there. He has the power to shape the world itself and have influence. As much as, yes, there are those that don't like him, but he's got so many other good connections, he's got so many other friends, and I think because of what's happened to him, he's still very bitter and angry about what's transpired, so he kind of wants to go home as soon as possible because of those issues. But I think once those wounds heal, I think maybe at some point he may want to stay there. He might want to settle down and, you know, find a lovely lady. You know, I'm sure there's one with a tail and some lovely ears and an orange curved throat that would love to maybe follow that same path if he decided to stay. Or Aqua Girl might decide with the harem route. I'm just messing with people, so before you start smacking on the keyboard, oh, she's best girl, who's best girl? Hey, we all have our favorites. Let's all unite together under our waifu's love and affection that don't exist. But still, I really love the new character. I think she just added that fun spark to the story, and I look forward to seeing more of her in the story. And I'm looking forward to it. I just think she's a lot of fun for the story. And I mean, not too much really happens other than that. It's more just a focus on him building the town, him getting pieces of the puzzle together. There's definitely a lot of back-end stuff and politics stuff going on, but that was definitely the main focus. I'm I'm assuming at some point we're going to bump into the other 3 at some point, and there's going to be a bit of a scuffle and things are going to get bad, and it's going to be a fun roller coaster. But overall, I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts about this volume? I'm definitely getting through the volumes at a nice speed, and I'm enjoying them. I really do love the story. I also found it funny when it comes to the crest itself, and the fact that they use the crests not because of power, but because of the stat influences. It gives them a lot of power, and that's the thing I think a lot of anime fans and also people that don't like Shield Hero, they like to criticize the series because, oh, well, it has the crest in it, it's unsavory, and it's like, well, if you look at the story and you actually read it, he doesn't really care about actually putting a crest on them. Again, he puts all the settings to basically free will. They can do whatever they want. If they want to run away, they can run away. He doesn't control them in any negative aspect. It's the stat controls that are really powerful. And I mean, hey, if I was in a similar situation, stats are stats. If you want to fight bad people, you want every advantage. And if you can use that to gain and maximize on stats, especially if you can pick exactly where you want the stats and gain extra stats with levels and percentage based, it's a really, really lucrative path to go down. I mean, when you're fighting opponents that are getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, and your life is on the line, hey, I would have no problem having a crest on myself. I mean, you're free to do whatever you want. It's not like he's got a chain on you. You can do whatever you want. As long as you pull your weight, as he says in the volume, you pull your weight, you work hard, no issues. It's basically just don't be a lazy bum and we won't have any problem. That's it. It's not like he's cracking the whip on them and making them do unrealistic things. He's not starving them. He's not mistreating them. It's just the stats there allow them to do more and allow them to accelerate, which allows them to accomplish more. It allows them to level better, which allows them to be strong enough to defend themselves, which is why they were able to defend themselves when they got raided. Without that crest, they wouldn't have been able to defend themselves. They would have probably been half their amount of power. So the crest makes sense from a power progression standpoint. If he was doing horrible things to him, then sure. And I do love the way he kind of tries to play the villain. It's what's really funny because it kind of fits in sort of perspective. Everyone sees him as the villain because so he plays the villain, even though he isn't. He's generally kind, he's caring, he doesn't want to do anything bad, and he hates the whole system itself, but also use that system to stat increases. So for me, it makes sense. I would have no problem with having a crest on myself if it allowed that kind of progression in power and defensiveness. It's smart, really, when you think about it. But still, I'm sure if he get away with not having to do it, then he wouldn't. But overall, I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What did you like about this volume? I'm super hyped and excited for when Season 2 gets a release date. So far, again, I want to emphasize Season 2 and Season 3 have been announced, but there is no date of when currently of uploading this video. So I just want to point that out for those that are asking. But again, love to know your thoughts. But if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe for more anime content, and I will see you, beautiful nerds, in the next video.